Good morning, Matt, I guess?
Whoa, good morning, Will!
Good morning to all of you. Welcome to Games for Breakfast.
The only internet breakfast talk show. We talk about this week's gaming and tech news, but that also, I'm a tornado.
It's our Halloween special.
It's coming off. It got caught on Frostmourne.
Okay, this is, all right.
It hungers. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to a hard-hitting episode of Games for Breakfast, where we're going to talk to you about the gaming stories that matter in a very serious tone, having nothing to do with dressing up for Halloween. No fun here, no games, no candy. Just serious games journalism.
I think Twitch chat is just very excited that there's a tornado emote that they just found in the globals on Twitch. So that's happening.
If you feel it,
the entire time. Yeah.
Chase it.
Okay.
Like we're going to be chasing these stories today. Am I right, Will? Tornado is ready.
Oh, dear. Chat, if you're wondering why we're a little silly, a little punchy, and a little tired, it's because we had a heck of a weekend, actually. We did our 12-hour charity stream on Saturday to celebrate my birthday. I am now older. And with your assistance, we raised $4,600.89 for direct relief in a mere 12 hours. We smashed our original $3,000 goal. So we will be doing community game streams here on the Twitch channel on a Saturday in November and a Saturday in December, because that was the deal that I made with people. So please look forward to that. If you're not, if you're a YouTube member, a patron, or a subscriber here on Twitch, you can join the Discord and you'll get a chance to vote on what game we're gonna be playing for those. Things that I've thought of so far include things like Mario Kart or Minecraft, but not Mario Party, because I like you all too much for that.
That's right. You're too generous. Again, thank you so much for the donating to Direct Relief to make this happen over the weekend. It was 12 hours. It was somehow partially less insane than right now. But it was also very, very fun, and Deep Rock Galactic is a good time. Also, I love this. This is my first app, and I'm loving it already. Thank you,
All
AJ.
right. Well, if you're joining us here for the first time, Godspeed.
I had a tree, chat, just one tree, but it fell off. It was supposed to be right here.
YouTube has found their global tornado emote, so now we have dueling. Great. This is excellent.
That's why it's called Twisters. If you feel it.
Nope.
Zoe knows. You couldn't hear her. She did the call and response.
You know what, Matt? I believe you, but only because you're dressed as a tornado, and that makes you a reliable witness for things that have happened on the internet.
I would never spin any fact, Will. Should we get to our first story? That it be in no way twisted?
Okay. Yep. Oh, God. I'm in pain.
There is pants that I am not wearing. I am wearing pants, just not the costume pants. And the pants have a cow on them.
I am so glad that you let us know that you... Okay. Yep. All right.
Oh, God. Tornado can't even... I gotta start coffee. Jeez. Tornado can't start talking about serious games journalism without having a cup of Joe. Am I right, chat? Brad and Janet, what up? Happy early Halloween, too. This is absolutely my favorite holiday. I look like cotton candy gummy to me. I could be a cotton candy gummy. I could be a gummy cotton candy flavored tornado.
Last week, as we were getting ready to go live, we discussed whether or not we should talk about this, and we decided that we weren't gonna till we had more information, and now we've got more information. Last week, there was an AWS outage, which
I had nothing to do with as a tornado.
That's correct. In fact,
my attorney says that's all I'm allowed to say about it.
It was, in fact, due to a DNS error, and anyone who's ever worked with any amount of internet will tell you it's never a DNS error. It couldn't be a DNS error. Oh, wait, it was a DNS error. So Amazon had a little whoopsie-poopsie with DNS for one of their data centers, and a whole bunch of things broke, from beds with $200 a month subscriptions. Did you hear about this, Matt?
Yes.
Okay, so did you hear that it got better?
Better?
It got better.
The bed story got better?
I'm tired. That doesn't mean I'm dead. These beds have $200 a month subscriptions, and the reason that they fold up if they can't get internet access is that they can't determine whether or not you've paid your subscription to sleep in your bed. No, they just fold up.
There has to be a sensor or something. I mean, obviously that's evil and stupid and dumb, and buyer beware, I guess, but also there has to be a sensor so it doesn't curl up while you're in the bed.
Yeah, no, I like or I like Tomato Curry's idea. It's because the bed are made from shrimps, which is bugs, as everyone knows.
Right,
shrimps is bugs. So there are beds as a service now, so that's great. But interestingly, and more on topic for our
well, sorry. Before we get more on topic to the gaming stuff, I want to talk to Brad and Janet directly about the idea of the smart home. This is actually a serious thing I'm saying, even though I'm dressed like a tornado.
Yes.
How many people in both chats right now have smart home devices? Like, I would say something like not just like a Google Home or an Alexa or something like that, but like some like other aspects that are connected to it. Anything from lighting to locks to I know there's some water things you can do. Like I'm just curious.
Yeah, like the idea of a connected smart home. Now, I'm willing to bet that what we're gonna run into is a lot of Chris's point, which is that we have too many people who are too deeply involved in technology as a career to be technology enthusiasts. See, that's really the problem, right?
I'm just going through. This is what I wanted.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted.
Yeah, I also have a smart thermostat, but that's also because my old thermostat broke, and it's very difficult to get one that isn't a smart thermostat, but it's also isolated and doesn't have like any.
But now here's the thing. This isn't to shame anybody who has it. I feel like I fall into the camp of the folks that like sort of just we pop their message up on the screen. There were, I could barely trust myself to remember to turn things on and off and or lock things or whatever. I don't need another thing to be able to do it and then make me question if it's being done even more, especially when outages like this happen. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. So in that same vein, it turns out that a lot of things depend on the AWS services that went out, including but not limited to Fortnite, some Nintendo services for both Switch and Switch 2, Pal World, Roblox, the New York Times puzzle app,
which I feel like probably was the thing that got the needle moving enough for them to fix. Everyone I know is addicted to every one of those games.
Right. So it's it's kind of an interesting thing, right? We talk a lot about scalability. We talk a lot about how, for instance, when Silksong came out and crashed Steam, lots of people were like, well, couldn't you just do scalable cloud servers? This is the consequence of that, right? Like, the cloud is not a mythical place made of tornado goodness. The cloud is someone else's computer. You're just trusting that they're better at keeping their computer online than you are. And for the most part, that's true. For the most part, Amazon is pretty good at keeping most things mostly running most of the time. Like 95, 95, 95, right? Like,
sure.
We're not in the 99 bracket. There are plenty of things that break. It's not the best, but it is functional kind of in the way you want it to be. But now when there are so many things that rely on it that when it goes down, it's like, it's sort of, Have you ever had a major power outage in a neighborhood and like you just go outside at the same time as everyone else? And everyone like looks around to see how much of the neighborhood lost power, and like you have weird conversations with your neighbors about like, hey, how long have you been out? Do you know when it'll be back? Like it's like that, only for the internet.
Like it's just gone with the wind. But here's the other thing. I want to go back. A while ago in Queens, we were watching, God, what were we watching? It was a super spooky movie. And then all the power went out.
Nice.
But then outside, and it was 9 or 10 o'clock at night, turned bright blue. And everyone walked outside and looked up, and chat, I kid you not, it was essentially like we were looking at a sky beam miles away, like a blue light just emanating and like a weird sort of hum. And this is not a dream. This happened. This is also not a joke. I thought for a good, I don't know, 30 seconds, I was like, okay, it's not like a bomb or anything. Like we didn't get hit with an EMP. That's not it. I was like, I guess it's aliens. Like my brain could not
right.
function.
Yeah.
Figure out. Does anyone want to guess what it actually was? Again, it lit up outside at night like it was daytime. And there was a point in the distance that you could sort of see it emanating from. Does anyone have an idea of what it was?
I have a pretty good guess, but I'll let Chad take a first shot.
I'm just sort of saying,
raccoon. I like almost watchables. Raccoon.
Sean got it.
Yeah. It's a transformer fire.
Yeah. So there's a power plant a bit away, and like it went, and it was shooting electricity everywhere.
Transformers are like the scariest thing that is probably near you that you don't know anything about. Transformers are super scary and full of a lot of electricity, like a lot of electricity. Like not like haha humorous joke electricity, like pile of ash electricity. It's a lot.
But that's, yeah, and blue was the clue. You're absolutely right. It was very, very interesting. We actually had a friend, he's still here and he still works there, who works for the electric company. And we called him and he's like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. No one was hurt, but we just had a huge problem.
This is true. I like this.
Anyway, sorry to derail the conversation.
No, but like it's that kind of thing now, right? That like AWS is as fundamental a service to our online existence as power is. And when it goes out, everyone just flips out, especially because weirdly, you can't, in some cases, contact people to let them know that you can't do the thing because AWS is out.
Yeah.
Like, that's a whole thing, too. So,
down detector's not going to do too good if you can't detect the down.
That's right. Or you can't get to down detector, all of those things. But it was pretty significant. The fact that it took down both Fortnite and Roblox is kind of massive. Those are the two biggest games. Not like two of the biggest games. It's Roblox and Fortnite. Like, those are the biggest games.
Yeah.
And so if they're affected by this, it's safe to say that a lot of other people that aren't being reported on were affected by this too. It's kind of wild. So just a reminder that we're not in the age of the internet where things will continue to function if stuff goes wrong. We're all like one bad DNS push away from not being able to do half the things that we do on the internet on the regular. And it's like a nice reminder of that, right? So like,
it's also a nice reminder to, and even though it's going to be harder, I think, to do it, like to not buy everything being like specifically things you need in your day to day. Like we had a conversation about ads being pushed to smart fridges, right? Like that's one thing, but if it's constantly to the internet and it can get like firmware updates or do something that's just asking for another point for it to break, like, and you know, you have these appliances that are so expensive that you kind of need to live, making it so someone else can inadvertently or vertently, that's not a word. Is it a word? Is vertently a word?
I don't know. Chat's going to tell us here in a second.
But having another person that could be like, nah, don't work no more for good or ill is bad.
Right. Yep.
Zox, no, sadly, no sharks. I don't have a toy shark.
We're talking about that for next year. All right. Next up, we got some Switch 2 stuff to talk about real quick. They're sort of rapid fire. The tarnished edition of Elden Ring has officially been delayed to 2026, which should surprise nobody who tried it when it was at demos. It is not ready.
I have walked by it at PAX West being played docked, and it seemed to be running fine in an outdoor environment.
Yeah.
Not that, sorry, the game, the port of the game, the player was outdoors. They were playing it. The physical playing of the Switch 2 was indoors.
Yeah.
Protected from the elements.
Great. So yeah, that's officially been delayed till 2026. We'll see how that plays out. I'm hopeful that FromSoft will be able to get things running. Like, the Switch 2 is not an unpowerful system, right? It is just a case of optimizing for very different hardware. Advertently, as opposed to, okay, great, excellent.
Zozo, come here.
I am surprised Zozo will get anywhere near you dressed like that.
Hi, Zozo. Do you want to come up? Keep going. What other things? What other stories are happening?
Okay, great,
in Switch 2
excellent.
Portland?
I'm just distracted by the attempt to get Zoe while dressed as a tornado. This is fascinating.
Yeah.
The Switch 2 port for Assassin's Creed Shadows will also be, I believe,
2026.
December. No,
December? For real?
December 2nd. They released on October 23rd that it will be coming out on December 2nd.
I don't know enough about ports and porting, but the fact that Star Wars Outlaws did so well on its port, I wonder if like Ubisoft is just like kind of like knows how to do it well now.
I think that that's likely. They're also reminder that one of the big obstacles was that Nintendo wasn't shipping dev kits. So like you could make a pretty educated guess based on the fact that Switch 1 stuff runs on the Switch 2, but you couldn't check. And you shouldn't release a product without checking.
Yeah.
Right? That seems ridiculous. So it could be that. It could be a lot of other things. But they are they're moving forward. That's coming out December 2nd. And then lastly, but by no means least, Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition is coming to the Switch 2 next year sometime. I don't believe we have a specific date yet.
It's funny. That one is like the least sort of technically impressive. I feel like Fallout 4 looks great. They just did it, you know, the new version to make it look even better. But like, it's a pretty old game. Like, they could probably get it running pretty smoothly on there. So
yeah, and I think we're seeing a lot more how, like, as long as you optimize for it, the Switch 2 can do a lot, right?
Yeah.
Which is what people really wanted from it. Like, I've seen a lot of people poo-pooing the Switch 2 and saying that it's like not as good as people are saying. I don't think it needs to be amazing. I just think it needs to be functional.
I think it was able to land in a sweet spot of, it's beyond functional. It's good. It's not the best, and it still has technical limitations, but I think where it falls in the Venn diagram, like especially for a place where ports are going to go. And I go back to the Cyberpunk 2077 port, which I am still incredibly impressed with, not only because they put the whole game on the actual cartridge. Thank you very much, CD Projekt Red. I know, for instance, the Tarnished Edition is not going to be doing that for Elden Ring, which is why I won't be buying it. There are reasons in games that like I will get for almost like a preservation kind of thing, because like a cartridge, I feel like, even though they're tiny and can get lost and kind of taste like car batteries, is a bit more of a longer term solution than a disc.
Mm-hmm.
So like, for instance, like if I was, and I'm not a huge Assassin's Creed person, but like if I was an Assassin's Creed person, I loved Shadows, and they were going to put it on that card, that's how you kind of get someone to buy it either just there or twice. I think if it's just the download, there's no real interest to me on that. And I know it's kind of it's a small thing, but I think in the world of these ports, if this sort of became the place where like, no, you can just own the game. As long as your Switch 2 runs and you have this cartridge, you do not need an internet service provider to play this game.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Firelord, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to have time to do puns in this costume just due to the whirlwind of stories that we're dealing with today. So we'll kind of go with it. We should just probably move on to the next one before we get swept away.
We've got updates on the situation with TwitchCon 10. So I've got some anecdotes that I have been hearing. I give some moderate amount of credibility to them. Largely that security was as bad as everyone thought. There were like knives floating around at TwitchCon, both knives that people could purchase from vendors and knives that came in through security. Also not great, but not really the largest part of this story. The largest part is that Dan Clancy, CEO of Twitch, owned up to the fact that they screwed up, which is, if we're going to slam them when they don't own up to it, we should acknowledge. We don't need to praise. We don't need to over kudos, right? But we should acknowledge when they say, you know what? No, you're totally right. We goofed. Dan is saying that, you know, he wants to take accountability for the problems that happened at Emeru's meet and greet, that they will be re-looking at the way that they do meet and greets specifically, but how they'll be doing security in general. They're also looking into how IRL streams happen and if they happen at TwitchCon, which is a big concern. They didn't directly address this, but one of the things that's begun happening every year is that Kick streamers decide that they're gonna crash TwitchCon and like get into altercations with people because Kick exists. Okay, so you know how like Bizarro is like the opposite of Superman? That's sure. Kick and Twitch at this point. Like Kick exists only to be a dark parody of Twitch. It has no other purpose as far as I can discern or tell. It is simply there for people who got kicked out of Twitch or who don't like Twitch to make part of their content identity that they hate Twitch. So
is it just a Twitch logo with a goatee on it?
Yeah, pretty much. Ignore our goatees. We're definitely not evil.
I had to have one because tornadoes canonically have them.
Yeah. That's correct. Yeah, absolutely. So that whole thing is sort of a thing that we need to acknowledge, is that Dan Clancy and the Twitch team are saying, like, yes, we absolutely hear you. They also did address that accessibility at TwitchCon sucked, and that they are going to be reviewing that as part of their comprehensive event review. I still think that I'm going to stand by what Matt's thought was last time, which is Twitch is running this event themselves.
Don't do it.
Don't do that. Don't do that. There are companies that do that. Also, on a somewhat different note, Emeru has confirmed that she will be pressing charges as a result of her assault at TwitchCon. Good. Yeah. I would like to see more firm action taken against people being terrible towards creators in public places, instead of having it just be like oh, that'll happen at conventions, which is kind of what happens with not this community, but like a large chunk of the populace is right. Sort of a shrugging like, oh, that's just what no, that shouldn't be just what happens. Stop making excuses. No. So that's kind of where we're at. I am aware as well that there's been some other Emeru stuff, which has happened since we last talked about it. I don't think we have time or enough information to dive deeply into all of that. So if you're about to type a comment later on YouTube and you're like, but what about, I don't think it's right for this episode. So we'll deal with that later.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Because I didn't put it in the notes because I don't think it's important. So I'm getting ahead of the comments, Matt. It's my job is to get ahead of the comments.
Before they end up sweeping you off your feet, I think that's a really good, that's a good idea, Will. So that's our TwitchCon update.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Next up.
I'm so proud of this graphic.
It's very good. So, chat, you know how we've gotten like movies based on like famous video games, right? We had the Minecraft movie and the Mario movie. We have Sonic movie.
3 Sonic movies.
We had a movie about Tetris. That was cool.
Until Dawn.
Yeah, right. We've got all of these movies. Well, Netflix has decided in their infinite wisdom that they're going to go all in on much beloved, famous Euro game Catan and have both live action and animated movies and or television shows regarding the IP for Settlers of Catan. That's the story. I don't think we need to explain. That's like the story. Like, now Netflix, I want to talk directly to you because I know that your entire concept team for new shows watches our show for such excellent costuming and commentary as we provide. Did you wear gloves, or did you get splinters under your fingernails when you were like furiously scraping the bottom of the barrel?
Okay.
Bro,
Look,
it's a Euro game about resource management. Like,
it sold 40 million copies.
Sure, but that doesn't mean that it makes a good animated TV. It's great. It's a great game. There's nothing wrong with Catan. But, like, why are we making things that don't have anything to do with stories into, like...
Are we here's the question. Are you, because I'm not particularly excited for this by any means of the imagination, but I'm also not angry at it. As the tornado here with a calmer take than Will's. Look, every company has been gobbling up every silly IP that they think they can make something out of. Do I think this is going to add to the oeuvre of Catan and like what it does? No. Do I think that maybe there's a possibility that they could make something accidentally really good with this? Yeah, I'll wait and see it, and I'll trash it when it comes out if it's bad. The thing that I found interesting about this story, which I believe, where did this one come to us from? This one came from IGN. Thank you. Netflix has the rights now to both an animated type series and a live action series. Now, I don't think, and maybe I will spin around on this one when we get to it. I don't think they're going to make a narrative live action Catan show. I think what they're going to do is build some sort of I don't know how you do this, but some sort of type of game show around Catan.
That seems correct.
In live action. That's what I think that they will probably do. Whether or not that will be good or bad, I don't know.
Also, I have found the new thing that I want. Mockingbird coming in with a banger. Would you be hyped if they made a Yu-Gi-Oh style Uno show? Duh, absolutely. That's the best idea I've seen. That's the best. This game doesn't have a plot, but we're going to give it a plot like thing that I've seen. So yes. No question, absolutely. I'll buy merch for it. Yes, 100%. Yeah, right.
I think here's another interesting thing about these stories. Studios, movie studios, television studios, etc., have bought silly off-brand IP since the beginning of IPs being sold. I think this might be why I'm just like, whatever. The fact that this is now like a story that we're talking about and like all this other thing, like it feels as though anytime a game does this, as opposed to like a book, people sort of get a little bit more like, what the hell about it? Even though, look, I'm saying it's probably 80% going to be garbage, but I'll wait and call it garbage whatever it is comes out.
Yeah, okay.
When it's garbage. Like, I think that's my only point. Like, Netflix has been buying up, slurping up IP since it was able to. Yeah. And this is an IP that I like that also I'm not actually, you know what? Ooh, I think I nailed it, Will. This is an IP that I like that is not narrative or lore driven. I like Catan. I like playing Catan. I have a general, like, I smile inside when I think about it, right? They can't ruin it would be harder to ruin that than say Netflix bought Returnal.
Yeah, because right, because the thing that they're gonna make cannot be close to the core of what the thing is. It will inevitably be in its orbit.
They're gonna make a different thing. It took me a minute to get why I wasn't spicy about this one, and I think that's what it is. Because there's no narrative to Catan that I am married to, and if you're going to be making narrative shows based around it, then I'd be mad. But this is You know, like they're adding another element onto it. Do I think it's lazy, and would I rather see like actual brand new IP and stories being told? Yes, absolutely. But that's also not how the industry works. Thus has said Tornado.
No, I think that's fair. All right.
And the industry keeps turning.
Okay. This is probably going to be, yeah, we can do this.
We can do it.
All right, this is our like first real giant big story. We've had a lot of
planted.
We've had a couple of like a little warm ups. We've got rolling. All right. Last week, Valve released an update to Counter-Strike 2. Whatever version of Counter-Strike we're currently on, I can't even keep track anymore. Counter-Strike. And in it, they had a bunch of changes, some of which were good. Some of which were much anticipated, and one of which no one saw coming, and which is the subject of our story, which is that Valve introduced a new methodology by which you can trade 5 red items, the tier directly below golds, which are knives and gloves, for a knife or a glove. So you can trade up 5 to 1 into a knife. Now, it's a little more specific than that even. The knife or gloves that you get, will be from the series of one of the red items that you trade in. So if you trade 5 red items from the same series in, you are guaranteed to get a knife from that series. Now, people who have not delved deeply and looked into the abyss of horrors that is the CS knife market may be wondering, Will, why does this matter? Well, dear viewer, you see, prior to this occurrence, Counter-Strike's overall cosmetic market had a market cap of an estimated $6 to $7 billion US.
What a bunch of hot wind.
Because people spend entirely too much money on knives. That's
it's also, just to be clear, to be fair and balanced, TMR, copyright, etc. That evaluation and buying and selling is also through crypto, mostly. Now, that does not mean that it could not be that money.
So I'm also going to say that more importantly than the fact that it's through crypto is that it's all almost exclusively through third-party sites because, important note, you cannot sell an item you cannot perform a transaction on the marketplace for more than $1,800 US, nor can you carry a balance on Steam of more than $2,000 US. And there are legal reasons for that.
Oh, yeah.
That's not like a Valve thing.
This isn't Valve or Steam sort of facilitating this. I'm saying when we throw around numbers, and I think as corruption ramps up more openly, we definitely can start seeing this more. This is like money is a agreed upon illusion that we've all said is real, so therefore we can run our society. Crypto, triply so. Right, like when we say like, oh, this is a market. There's a market cap of flabby-doo billion. You're like, okay, cool, but like it's not like.
I'm gonna push back. I don't think that the crypto connection matters. I think that the knife market and the skin market is, while it is currently using crypto to facilitate these transactions, it does have a strong basis in like. But
the amount that can be spent on them with this currency is incredibly is essentially tied more because it's more fake than regular money to the crypto markets, which are also incredibly volatile. Like we can say that the value of this market cap for these literal video game skins is $6 billion, but it's only that when it's up or down based on spending.
Kind of. I would say that in my opinion, my understanding of the Counter-Strike skin market is that their value is not tied to crypto. Merely the method of transaction is crypto at that moment.
Yes, and I think the reason why the value is what it is because of the massive volatility of crypto. like I think you can kick it up to, what is it, 6 point something billion, and now it's 4 point something, or what was the
like 2
what
billion.
was the
Hold on, I can look at
the silly numbers?
the current market cap.
Yeah, I think this is my point. And Sentinel kind of hits it. We don't have to go back and forth because I'm not a financial advisor or a crypto cryptologist. I just cut the word zoo out of that. I'm a simple tornado. Just really just trying to gust my way through this story. I think that let's pretend for a moment that it's all real.
The city of gold and okay, great, excellent. Yeah.
I think Cryptornado, that's me. Don't forget to buy my new currency. What would a tornado's cryptocurrency be called? It would definitely take you for a ride.
It's a Litecoin because it blows away.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. A puff piece. I think what's interesting here, and I hope, and again, who knows why Valve did this and whatnot. I hope it is to kind of shake up this industry a bit and get it a little bit more scared, because
I have a much more basic explanation.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, okay. So, by the way, the current market cap, according to Price Empire, and I used Price Empire for both I'm using the same source for numbers before and after to try and eliminate as much bias as possible. I'm using Price Empire. They're currently saying it's about $2.5 billion. So I think it's much simpler than that, Matt. Because you can't trade, you can't spend money on these items inside Valve's system in a place where they can get transaction fees for these items unless you are willing to sell them for $1,800 or less. They need to correct the market by lowering the value of these prestige chase items, the gold items. They also want to increase circulation of items which previously had very little value, the red items, which went from a couple bucks to north of $50. Again, if Valve takes a 2 or 3% transaction fee on every item that moves through the market, that's a significant increase in revenue for Counter-Strike, right? Because Counter-Strike only makes money off its cosmetics.
Yeah, I think we're saying the same thing, but for different reasons. Two things can be true at once. I absolutely believe that is the reason why that they are choosing to do this, because but I also think that there is some internal methodology at Valve and the way that this is sort of functioning, that they don't want to be in the business of larger form gambling. Now, smaller form gambling up to their cap or whatever the legal limit is, they seem to be fine with that, whatever. Because especially in today's day and age, if Valve wanted to have a heel turn and go full into like full crypto gambling, they are positioned to make the most money out of any other group doing it. And they're actively choosing not to. So I think it's twofold. I think, one, they can move the market back into a space that they're comfortable with and that they can make more money off of, but also it deters sort of the element of this or the size of this industry that they do not want to be involved in.
Yeah.
And I would argue, especially where it seems like most white collar crime is basically legal now, like they're not choosing not to get into that industry because of fear. Like, I think that's my point. Like, so I absolutely agree that they're being smart about like, yes, we can also move this back into our wheelhouse and show them that it should not be ballooned this high and they should do their transactions in our walled garden, essentially.
And they have in the past taken steps to make it harder to do third-party transactions, like the some of the trade protections that have been put in place recently, specifically on Counter-Strike items, to help crack down on third-party gambling sites and to make it harder to do those things and to return transactions to the marketplace. This is another step in that. Now, someone asked about TF2. I want to call this out because this is a fascinating conversation point that I will attempt to make. Nope. this.
But you're not wrong.
You're not wrong. The big difference between Team Fortress 2 and Counter-Strike is that Team Fortress 2 is still denominating itself in keys, which is really an interesting way to do this. So Counter-Strike moved to dollars and to crypto, as Matt pointed out, and third-party gambling sites. TF2 has been using buds and keys as in-game tradable currency for a really long time, which is sort of a fascinating way to do this without using like money in game to be the denomination. So it does happen in TF2. There are things that are like, 2,000 keys, and a key is $2.50. So like, there are things which would exceed the transaction cap, but there are also like, because things have value that's denominated in tradable items, it gets a much weirder. TF2, I think, is actually a fantastic case study in player-generated economy and currency. Like, if you ever wanted to do a piece on in gaming on a player-generated economy, look at Team Fortress 2. It is bananas and much weirder than Counter-Strike's, but like, it does have some of these problems. Yeah.
There's also there's also the question that someone brought up earlier, which I keep going back to, and it's a terrifying one if I can find it. Where was it? Gonna find it. Gonna find the boom. Why are people paying so much for skins anyway? It's a great question.
Because they are rare.
Well, because they are gambling with them. They are the only reason to buy one of these things at the prices that they are being sold at is you believe that the price of them, due to their rarity, will go up and you can sell them later.
There are also prestige pieces for and conspicuous consumption for some players who believe themselves to be on the rise, pub stars, pros, and the like. Knives and gloves are generally worth more, not only because they are rare, but because they are always equipped, unlike gun skins, which in Counter-Strike you're not necessarily guaranteed to have. So
but those are not, all of those things are not what's holding up this, and I use this lightly, industry.
Sure.
Like, yeah, there's always going to be high spenders or people in those spaces that want the most expensive thing because it's the most expensive thing and they can afford it. That's not what's propping up this industry.
No, but that I'm trying to give a complete answer. Sure. That's not just like the skin gambling part of RC Fox's question, right? That they are desirable for a number of reasons.
But I would argue that the reason why they are priced so high is that market.
Oh, yes, that the price is that high because the market exists, even if people who are paying those prices aren't necessarily intending to participate in that market, right? It's magic cards, right? A Mox is expensive because it is rare and it's powerful, but it also won't ever be reprinted, so everyone that you buy is a gamble.
Exactly. I'm just trying to keep the conversation grounded. That's right.
You wouldn't want to have it lift off and fly away.
No. It could spin out of control.
Yeah. So I think
I hate this. This is me completely my own personal opinions on this, and I again, industry. Like I hate it. Sure. I hate that it exists. I don't particularly respect it. But however, I'm not the arbiter.
Yeah,
I'm a simple tornado with one simple tornado opinion.
The interesting thing that I'm quite fascinated by is how well, I guess it's just not as talked about because it's not as popular in the broader market. How Dota 2 has escaped this? I don't think it fully has. I think it's been grazed by it, but like the three main games that Valve does this for, right, that have very similar funding methods are TF2, Dota 2, and Counter-Strike 2. All twos because Valve can't count to three. And they've, it is not entirely unscathed by this, I am sure, but like not to nearly this extent. Although I suppose it is in part likely due to the fact that you have individual hero cosmetics, and there are hundreds heroes in Dota. So
your knife and glove skin or whatever is a good analogy of why that is.
Yeah. And yeah, I think there are a lot of people who are very, very excited to have the market correct in this way, because it might mean that they actually get a cool thing that they want that's just a shiny thing, because it helps them enjoy the game. And I think that that's the good upside of this. And I hope, you know what? I'll go even further. Hey, Valve, do it again. You won't, cowards. Crash it all the way. Just all the way.
Well, to your point, I think this is step one of a multi-step plan to get them back into the ecosystem where they could control it. If they did it all at once, they'd scare everyone off too quickly.
Yeah.
I think this, and I think that that's probably the game plan. I think I think the reason why this was just a small step is a thing that leads to your reasoning more, Will, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay. It is now the part of the show where we sell you fake things that you can't buy, while Twitch Chat gets ads for real things that they can buy. So we're going to do a short ad break, and then we'll be back with the rest of our stories right after that. Matt, are you ready to blow us away with your salesmanship?
Yeah, I guess. Hey, everyone. A tornado for extra credits here. Did you ever want someone to really give you, like, the best dance party of your entire life? Well, then have you considered hiring a tornado to be your DJ? That's right. I will just be spinning tracks all day long. It's actually, I have a track list. Hold on. I can get to it. I didn't even think of this when I did it, because I wore this costume to a karaoke one night. And then that way I started doing, hold on, wait for it. You can listen to tracks such as, oh my God, where the heck is it? Oh no, I blew it. I blew the whole thing. I blew it. It
might be one of my favorites. I'm just going to say.
I just found it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good job. Good job.
What is bro doing? What is bro doing?
Great question. Next question.
All right, Will, advertise your fake ad for a thing that no one can buy.
Yep. Hey, chat. I'm tired for extra credits here. To sell you the concept of go to sleep. Are you at work? That's cool. That's fine. You can do it right there. Are you driving? Probably don't do it, but like maybe pull off to like a gas station parking lot or something. Just go to sleep. You're tired. I know. I'm tired too. We're all tired together. Just what if we all just like agreed that this afternoon it was socially acceptable to just find a place and take a nap? Consider just doing that. Just find a place to go to sleep and just sleep. Shh. Sleep time. Nap. Night.
Hey everyone, tornado for extra credits again. If you do Will's patented sales pitch of going to sleep, have you considered waking up somewhere else? That's right. You can use my patented service to just be somewhere else when you wake up. Could you be in Cleveland? Could you be in Detroit? Could you be in Oz? Well, don't go there again. I had a really okay time working on that movie. I don't want to get too much into it. The house was really nice. The monkeys were... Dorothy was fine. The witch was dope. By the way, which brings me to the track list I was talking about before, which was You Spin Me Round, Winds of Change, Bohemian Rhapsody, Have You Ever Seen the Rain, Blown Away, Riders on the Storm, Twist and Shout, and Ain't No Love in Oklahoma. Oh, and Limp Bizkit's Break Stuff.
That's the one that gets me. Okay. All right. Yep. You could.
This is a gaming talk show, by the way.
Yeah, right.
I wanted to clear this up for anyone.
If you're joining like right now, this is what happens when we have to run ads on Twitch to keep pre-rolls off, because pre-rolls during talk shows are the absolute worst, because people join in the middle of things and then they like make comments about stuff that you definitely didn't say or they feel like you did. Joining in the middle of conversations is bad, so we just pause the conversation while pre-rolls are on. All right.
Yeah, if you're ever wondering why this gag exists, that's the reason why this gag exists.
Yep. All right. Cool. Great. Excellent. Awesome. So that's our story on the skin crash, which is like Snow Crash, only way grosser. Next up. Next up.
I remember.
Let's talk about Xbox. So
Ooh-wee.
So we got three sort of lobes to this story, and they're all ridiculous. So we're going to sort of tackle them one at a time. The first is brought to us by IGN. It's some comments that Xbox has made about their next generation of Xbox consoles, because a reminder that the most recent handheld, the ROG X Ally X, the ROG Xbox Ally X, is $1,000 for a thing which, in most people's opinions, does not significantly outperform the Steam Deck, which is half the cost. And so Xbox has gone on record to say that their next thing will have, quote, next level performance, cutting edge graphics, breakthrough gameplay, and unmatched compatibility. And that it will be a premium experience. And I don't like. I'll just read another quote. The next-gen console is going to be very premium, very high-end curated experience. You're starting to see some of the thinking we have in this handheld, the ROG Xbox Ally, but I don't want to give it all away. You're not giving anything
never
away.
Give it all
You're
away.
charging
$1,000
for a subpar handheld. You're not giving anything away.
Bro, what is bro even doing? Bro's going premium.
Yeah, right?
That's what's happening.
Like,
Tornado's going Hollywood. Xbox doesn't have time for all of us non-premium people and or weather phenomena. Come on. This is
right. So this is a good point. Mockingbird brings up this is like their standard pitch for like no, not that. This chat's moving too fast today. Y'all gotta slow down. Yes, this is everything they promised, but now we have a hard and fast example of what they mean right now. Right? If the ROG hadn't come out, if the Ally hadn't come out, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
No.
But it did. And they seem pretty happy with it, and they're saying, like, look at this thing that's $1,000. Look at this tornado, it's $1,000.
This tornado costs $1,000.
$1,000, right? That's what we mean when we say that it's like premium. That's what we mean when we say it's, high end, that this is the market that we're trying to break into, right? Like, but why though?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different reasons. Also, I want to start with Mikhail's here real quick. A person who was an Xbox main from 2001 to 2015 only feels sadness for the continued spiral. Also, thank you for the tornado joke baked into there. I agree. I feel I forget what years I was sort of an Xbox main. It was definitely through the 360.
Sure. I had a 360.
The classic Xbox and the 360 were my jams. Even though, we've talked about the Red Ring. We know that there have
always been problems.
But like the ubiquity of how the 360 worked was, it was, yeah. So, yeah, sorry. Yes, it is. I am a tornado. It's the Halloween episode. Yeah. If you're tuning in right now.
Yeah.
Will is Glenn Powell's character from the acclaimed film Twisters, and I am the aptly named Twister.
The eponymous Twister. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so the way that I think this is actually okay. So we've seen Xboxes doing its little dance around like. Maybe not manufacturing as many consoles, causing places not selling too well because places like Costco are stopping to not selling them anymore. And then we've seen, is this an Xbox? Or this is an Xbox, pardon me. They're not asking the question. They're making a statement. Is Tornado an Xbox? Probably. Like, is your PS Portal an Xbox? Well, kind of coming up with the next story.
Okay. they've devalued their brand while raising the price on their brand.
They've devalued their hardware.
Yeah.
Now, it's weird. You could say they've devalued their whole brand because of the way that
it is.
gamers TM tend to have like allegiances. Again, I am a self-proclaimed Sony pony. I understand this. I make no aspersions to it. Or away from it. Whatever way you don't want an aspersion to go. I don't do the opposite of whatever that wasn't. My point is...
I smell toast.
My point... No, that's the Xbox.
Okay, great.
My point is that they seem to, with the... But like, every move they made is like, oh, they just don't want to be in the hardware space anymore. They're partnering with other people to make handhelds. They're making Game Pass their main thing. They're not ramping up production of whatever. And they're talking about like, oh, they'll still make a console, but like, it's going to only be so the poorest can't have it. And like,
Essentially what they said.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Like, they don't want to give it away. Like, truly, they want you to spend a lot of money on it. But the idea, but then the upping of Xbox Game Pass 150% kind of like, it feels like, because of the next part of the story we're going to talk about, it feels like they are giving away the game too quickly because their corporate overlords have told them you need to make this amount of money in this amount of time.
Yeah.
And I actually don't think that the good ship Xbox is buoyant enough to actually do it because of the ground that both the Switch, the PlayStation, and PC has sort of taken from the gameplay space.
Yeah. Let me this is a great point to address this this question that Suhas has about why don't people just play PCs. Great question. Originally, it was because it was much cheaper to buy a console and a TV than a PC, right?
Yeah,
because
1000%.
Because consoles were loss leaders. The cost to purchase a console was never the cost to manufacture a console, and that was subsidized because the manufacturers were relying on making money back by selling you games, right? Yeah. So that was the whole original deal. Now it's not. People have fewer uses for PCs in a lot of ways, right? Like they might have like a work laptop and a phone, but I know plenty of people who don't engage with desktop PCs at all, but they'll play a console on a couch, right? The role of the console in the home and in culture is different. So it can be hard for people who are sitting in the middle of like a solar panel array of monitors lit by, key lights, or who have been in the PC market for a really long time. But there is a cultural spot for consoles, right? That spot is just decaying rapidly as it becomes more and more expensive, and the argument that it's cheaper than buying a PC becomes less and less tenable. That's harder and harder to pitch, right? Yeah. So trust me, as a PC person for forever, right, who has occasionally dipped into consoles, I'm right there with you. But for a large group of people, this is how they see gaming, right? The average player is a console player who buys one game a year.
Yeah.
That's the average gamer.
And also, like, I would say if I wasn't streaming as much with Will here, or that sort of thing. Like the only reason that I invested into a gaming PC, because I've always been a console person, not because I don't think that PCs are, if you're doing it right and taking the time, a better experience, it was because of the price point and how it was cheap enough. I switched off of Mac onto PC for my rig and I bought like a beast of a rig years ago to do work, but also to stream.
Yep.
Because that's just where it is. Like, it was funny. I was playing last night. Because I wanted some spooky stuff and I was resting after the charity stream. I was playing Resident Evil 4 on PSVR 2. Dear God, what an awesome experience that is. But I was like, man, it'd be so fun to stream this. God, that's a pain. Like, it's not a pain if you just want to link it to like a personal account that's not like whatever, but like to stream the PSVR 2 console to our account is hard. A huge pain in the butt.
Very hard.
So there's lots of like edge case weirdness too. Like, I feel like the ubiquity that PC offers also increases complexity, and sometimes people want the simplest thing to just play a game. That makes sense?
I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%. Okay, so one of the ways and the things that Xbox is doing in an attempt to make more money is they're trying to save money on development costs by using AI to help them write more code. Phil Spencer's very excited about this, you see. Phil Spencer just the most excited about this?
Well, that's not really what I got from the story.
Okay. What'd you get?
Well, the story comes to us from Kotaku. It's Phil Spencer gave, and maybe he's given us, maybe he's just, cycloning around the truth. That didn't work out. I'll get back to it. Oh, by the way, Ark, I'm a tornado. It's Halloween, close to it anyway. The way that this story sort of goes is Microsoft as a company has said, yes, everything's going to be AI now. We're going to develop all of our games and do all of the things. I forget exactly what they said was going to be their whole landscape of yes, these franchises will be powered by AI, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Phil has said something a little bit different because I think Phil is trying his best to weather a storm while a incredible amount of other things are just whipping around him. He's at the eye of the storm, and he's just trying to keep, again, his ship afloat. He's basically saying that there's no mandate to use AI on Xbox as a property specifically. What they're using it for is moderation and sort of back-end tools that he basically says, not like, he says, this is sort of part of his quote. On the production side, I think where a lot of people go, we don't have any goals in our model for that to happen. I think more about the pace of creativity, maybe the number of things we can try and take risks on before we decide on our next opportunity. But our AI today is much more operational than it is in the creative space. That is coming from Xbox, the brand, but we have to also remember that Microsoft is dumping tornado-sized amounts of money into AI, so it's not like they're not gonna do it.
Right. Like, I feel like that. So they talk a bit about how they're using it for moderation, which is reasonable as a first pass, right? It is reasonable to use AI to scrape large amounts of data looking for patterns. That's the thing that AI
Medical
is
stuff.
Yeah, that machine learning, what we would call parts of AI, not generative AI, but an analytical AI, machine learning is good at. It's very good at that. In fact, that's a good use case for that. But it still needs a human intervention. So, there's that bit. But I don't know. The whole, I felt like it, I felt like it was almost a dog whistle, right? That it was yes, it's a much more operational, right? That they're writing code with it as opposed to trying, they're trying to say oh no, it's only in this part, not in the part that everyone's upset about. That was that way.
So you think Phil is also trying to obfuscate and still use it? I took it as Phil is trying to obfuscate that the company wants to do it and is trying to knife's edge balance, not pissing them off, but also not pissing off every fan that Xbox has.
Yeah. I
don't think, again, I don't know Phil Spencer. We talk about him so much on the show like he's a bud. We have no connection to Phil whatsoever. I'm sure he's a very nice man, maybe. But I don't think he doesn't seem like the person that would be pushing this stuff. He seems like the person that is told to push this stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's always the face of these stories.
That's true.
But that's what his job is to be.
Yep. Yep. And then, lastly, so we know a little bit more about why now. Why we have this absurd tilt from Xbox that they are raising the price on the thing. Now, their initial reason when they did the US specific price raise was that it was due to macroeconomic conditions within the United States. Anytime anyone says macroeconomic conditions within the United States, they mean tariffs. That's
you
what
mean that thing Ronald Reagan didn't really like?
Oh man, it's just this weekend has been nuts. So that's what they mean. Whether or not we believe them, different story. But
Sure.
That's what they're saying, right? Okay. But it looks like they may have given us more ammo to not believe them when they say that, because Microsoft's CFO, Amy Hood, is apparently responsible for asking Xbox to meet a, quote, accountability margin, quote, of 30%. So they want to make...
I like making up numbers.
Yeah, this is a very made-up number. This is...
46% of statistics are made up on the spot.
Exactly. So Jason Schreier broke this story with Dina Bass last week. And it is... So they're asking for 30% profit, essentially, out of Xbox. That's not really possible.
Yeah.
It's not
how
just
this
that, like,
works.
it's not like a lofty goal. It's a you made up that number and don't know how numbers work number. Like, that is a big warning sign that Microsoft is going to
try some wacky stuff if they think they're going to actually hit that number.
Yeah.
Medusa, you.
That's a good one. I like that one.
That's great.
Right? Yeah. So, and I kind of agree with Enclave here, right? That it may just be that Microsoft is looking for an excuse to shut down Xbox, right? So this is kind of like, if you've ever been in a job,
Never done it.
Right. Yeah. Don't get it. Obviously, you can tell. This is our Monday morning. But
yeah, who's in an office right now?
Right. I'm
so sorry that we're here for.
Yeah. Right. This is okay. If you've ever been in a job and they're trying to get rid of you, one of the ways that they'll do it is they will set performance goals for you, which are unattainable, and then use your inability to meet unattainable performance goals as a reason to degrade your performance review, to say that you're no longer necessary and to get rid of you, right? That is a way that individuals in corporate jobs are disposed of, right?
Yeah.
And in the same way, it is very easy to see how someone could say, oh, we don't need that anymore. We're going to spend all the money that we were spending on Xbox on AI now, because we don't believe that bubble's going to pop. But that bubble's definitely going to pop. That bubble is going to pop, and it's going to pop loudly, and a bunch of people who were sailing along with their balloons in that bubble are just going to come crashing down. It's
great when there's 6 companies just buying and selling things to one another for not real money.
Yeah.
It'll go awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. All the conjunction of all of these things, plus our last story, or our second to last story. Is it our second to last story?
What?
Plus our second to last. No, maybe it's our last story.
Last story.
Is all leading me to believe that they do want to exit the space. I think they don't want to deal with. I don't think Microsoft wants to deal with hardware anymore. I think the Ally shows that. I think everything points towards that, with the exception of raising their price of Xbox Game Pass. But I think that is in direct conjunction to this absurd edict from on high of this 30% profit.
Yep.
I'm curious. It was something I haven't been able to find yet, and maybe I'll just do more digging. I haven't been able to find like the level of cancellations because of this price point increase.
Yeah. So the math on this works out, right? Because anytime a company raises their prices, right? Anytime there is a piece of dark math which goes on, which is, will we make more overall money doing this? Which is, if we double the price and fewer than half of our users leave, we will make more money.
Yeah, and because they will have to manage and facilitate half of the customers, or however many, like less customers for the same amount of money.
Yeah, you'll be able to cut customer
support
costs.
Which you can save money that way.
I don't know, man. Like Xbox it took a swan dive off a cliff this year, and they're trying to aim at like a glass of water. Like I don't know how they don't go splat here.
But I think don't we think that like don't we think that splat is kind of the point? Like this feels like the Eric Andre meme, right? Where it's like Xbox gets shot on the chair and then Xbox turns to the camera holding the gun and it's Microsoft and it says, "Who could have done this?"
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's fair. Like, yeah, I think that's yeah. I don't
the way that Microsoft is behaving is the way that I behave when I want to leave a party.
Yo, you're right. I gotta be in bed by
out of there.
Yeah, ridiculous time. I gotta
stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Should we talk about
the big story?
The big story.
So
the story on the thumbnail.
Yeah, right. So, as part of their goal to make all of the money, they've done something which 12-year-old me, I don't think 12? I was older than that. No, I was in my teens, right? Didn't think would ever happen. Which is welcome home, Master Chief. You're where you've always belonged on the PlayStation.
It's crazy. I'm so old. This is crazy.
Right. So like how many of you were around for the era of like console loyalty where like people weren't necessarily getting in knife fights in alleyways with box cutters, but like it was close for a bit. Right. And like it was like part of your identity. You were like either with like Master Chief or you were with, I don't know what the PlayStation.
Crash Bandicoot. I don't know.
Yeah, Crash Bandicoot, right? Whatever. But like Master Chief was like it. It was like the symbol of Xbox, and like your Mountain Dew and your Doritos and your Master Chief were like, that was the thing, right? That was like what it meant to be an Xbox gamer.
This one, as someone brought up Sonic on Nintendo consoles, right? And like, but this is the thing. So that was crazy. At the time. But it was after
the Dreamcast.
If I'm remembering correctly, correct me when I'm wrong. It was after Sega exited the hardware space.
Yep.
Xbox has not said. In fact, they've promised to give us quite the premium experience, or at least the people that can afford it. I hate the way they worded the entire thing. They're still Xboxes now, but now the mascot,
there are more
the
Xboxes
mascot apparent.
than ever.
Yeah,
Is this an Xbox?
Yeah, right. This feels the biggest and the weirdest. Now, let's before I feel like we've been talking about the corporate side of this for a little bit. Let's talk. Let's spin around and get a little bit serious for a second. Okay, let's talk about Halo Campaign Evolved, which is the name of this Unreal 5 remake. Is it Unreal?
I think that sounds right.
I'll look that up. I don't want to be wrong about that.
So, and I do want to bring up, if you're confused about this, Microsoft owned Bungie, then sold it, correct, but the Halo name stayed with 343 Industries, who were Bungie's Microsoft-based partner when Bungie left, and then got bought by PlayStation, and then is now getting reined in by PlayStation because they keep delivering subpar Destiny 2 expansions by most market standards. So they've kept control, right? The Bungie wanted to leave and do something else, which is fair. I mean, after 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, ODST, and Reach were all Bungie first party, and 4 was the first 343. It was either 4 or 5 was the first 343 first party.
I think 4. 4 was.
I think it was 4. So there were 5 first party Halo games under Bungie, and they wanted to do something different, right? Like,
they gave us Destiny, gave me 3 to 4 years of some of the best gaming of my life, and now don't know what to do with it. Regardless, we're not talking about Destiny again this week. This is crazy. Now before we get to this game will be cross play across PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. My guess it will come to the Switch as well.
By the way, crossplay, just the campaign, or are they letting multiplayer happen?
So here we go. So here's how this game is running. You can either play co-op 2 players sitting on your couch, or co-op 4 players over the internet. Please note the name of this remake. It is Halo Campaign Evolved, not Combat Evolved like it was when it was released. There is no PvP multiplayer in this remake.
I think that's actually really smart.
Talk to me about that.
Why do I think
think that is smart? Yeah.
Because moderating Halo PvP is like an extra. Like, okay, so first off, this is already going to be contentious. And if they tell you what platform people are on, if you get a lobby with like an Xbox logo and a PlayStation logo next to each other, there is like a very non-zero chance they're just going to be slurs, right? Because it's
the slurs are going to be there regardless.
Well, right, okay, except if it's PvE multiplayer, right? Then like that's lessened for this, right? And yes, there will be slurs regardless. It's Halo multiplayer, but I think that also not maintaining that lets them lower operating costs, right? Because you can do it's much lower lift.
Yes, it's a lower lift
to do PvE multiplayer than it is to do PvP multiplayer. Your netcode can be different. Your math can be different on how combat is balanced. You don't need to do ongoing support for things like combat balance patches, seasons, cosmetics, none of that. It's all baked into the game when you start. Great. I think that's a smart move.
Yeah. Well, I think also I did hear this that Mikhail did say the multiplayer game in the works. They want to have Halo Infinite keep spinning and still making money. Yep. I mean, that makes sense too. There's no reason why they won't eventually just release. Like, also, and this will do well in other places. There's no way in hell they don't release the Master Chief Collection or a version of it or something on PlayStation as well. There's no reason they don't release Infinite on the PlayStation as well. Like, Medusa brought up this, though. It also feels too late to matter. I think Halo coming to PlayStation because it doesn't matter as much anymore. I think there is truth to that. From a first-person shooters have evolved. Halo Infinite did not do what they wanted it to do. I think there was a secret, not that 345 or 343 Studios didn't do well, but I think that there was a bit of Bungie magic that was lost when they left the franchise. And you can kind of see that. It's funny. You can kind of see where the skill set and passion is for Bungie in what works in Destiny and what doesn't work in Destiny. And you can kind of see that the story behind Halo is not buoyant enough to maintain outside of giving it like the best feeling first person shooter that you could have. Again, Halo Combat Evolved when it came out was an absolute game changer. For those of you who weren't around for it, it was Will and I know that the Master Chief Collection is a slight remaster, like better textures or something. It could render higher, but roughly It was the same. That game from a gameplay perspective still slaps today.
Yeah,
you can throw. I'm truly convinced you could boot up an original Xbox with the big loaf of bread controller and sit down with a friend to play co-op Halo.
Halo 3 Lasso still stands up as a gaming challenge worth doing with 3 friends. Yeah. Lasso is legendary all schools on.
The level of polish and look, this is I'm not just like completely glazing this thing entirely. There are problems. Is Silent Cartographer the level that they just keep reusing the same hallway like 9 times?
I think so, but they are redoing some amount of the campaign to fix some of the historical problems with it.
Yeah. So this is my point a little bit here, because I watched the trailer for this and it didn't feel special. And again, maybe it's because what is special is the feeling of playing Halo, not the look of Halo. This looked better and newer and shinier and more Unreal 5-y. but I don't know. It didn't have like. I'll be curious to see how it plays. Oh, library. Thank you, Ryan.
I saw a Blue Sky post, which I feel like adequately described this for me, which is that it feels like photorealistic Mario.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you can do that, and yes, that is technically higher fidelity graphics, but I fear if you do that, you have missed the point.
But it's possible, it is possible to do that and still have the feeling.
Correct, but
we don't know that yet.
Right, and also it introduces a level of skepticism in whether or not the people who are doing it understand the point, if that's how they're selling it, right? If they're selling it based on graphical fidelity instead of combat feel or gunplay, then, like, do they really understand why it made a difference? Like, okay, it kind of feels like the problem with Souls-like games, right? Like, the problem with Souls-like games is that lots of Souls-like games, or games that claim to be inspired by the combat and style of Dark Souls, have completely missed what makes Dark Souls combat. Like, an example might be, yes, you have health flasks to heal. Does the boss ever have an opening that allows you to heal? No. Does it have parries or dodge rolls with iframes? Also, no. But it's a Souls-like game. You've missed the point. I feel like it's an exercise in missing the point when you're like, yes, look at how shiny our game is. We didn't care that Halo wasn't shiny. I mean, like, it looked cool for its time, but like,
for its time, it did look cool. Like,
sure,
but also that's not why it stayed popular for years.
Okay, do you remember Red versus Blue Season 1, where they had to do like letterboxing to an extreme that is absolutely unreasonable, and they couldn't get the reticle out of the middle of the shot? Like, that's sort of what I mean, right? Is that, like, that was about the stupid story of Red versus Blue and not about, like, all of the things that were around it, right? It was just a cool way to tell a story. And I feel like the charm of Halo, in a lot of cases, is it's a cool way to tell a story. I don't remember what Halo looked like. I just remember being tweaked out of my mind on caffeine in college and playing SWAT, right? Like, and that feeling, at least for me, is what's important, right? That it's not it's like, yeah, sure, the graphics were cool and great and wonderful, but like,
Sheila!
Yeah, right. Maybe
that's for everyone who knows.
The sword is a key, and when you put it in someone, it unlocks their death.
A chupa thingy. How about that?
Right.
Thanks,
God, I
Sarge.
miss RVP. Cheers.
Cheers to Red versus Blue, man. That was a time to be alive.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just, you know when PlayStation will catch me? Do you know when they'll catch me with this? When they re-release the best Halo game on PlayStation. Now, there's only one answer to what the best Halo game is. And if you disagree with me, you're wrong. You can fight me in the comments. And that's Halo ODST.
It's pretty great.
ODST is the best Halo game because much like Star Wars is more interesting when you don't have Jedi, the Halo universe is much more interesting when you're not Master Chief. ODST is the best Halo game. Re-release it. If you re-release ODST, I'll know that you're serious, and then I'll think about buying a PlayStation to replay it.
Wait, no, you won't. You can just play it on your computer.
I said I'd think about it, not that I do
right.
it.
I just wanted to be sure.
I'll think about it, right? But like, yeah, honorable mention to Reach. I agree.
Reach is lovely too. Yeah. I'm very curious to hear the reviews of this. And if people say it captures the gameplay magic that the original had, I will buy it. There's a part of me. It's the bad lizard brained 14-year-old part of me that just wants to buy it because Master Chief's on PlayStation. And I think there's a lot of people that they're banking on that too. Like, which does worry me about overall quality.
Yeah, I think that I think that like this headline is what they want, right? And they don't actually care, right? Because at this point there are 3 ways to play major AAA game releases.
Yeah.
Right? PlayStation, Switch 2, and the PC.
Yeah, there's no reason to own
an Xbox.
Unless you already own an Xbox.
Do you know what this has huge energy? This has huge Twitch energy. Because Twitch, when they stopped doing VODs here on Twitch, they had a town hall meeting to answer questions from streamers about it. And I watched that town hall meeting because it was relevant and important. And at the end of it, as they were rating out, there was a message from Twitch, from the Twitch account in Twitch chat that said, if you missed this broadcast, don't worry, it'll be up tomorrow on YouTube. This is the don't worry, it'll be up tomorrow on YouTube. Like, you're doing that thing, and you just ceded all of your brand equity in that space to another company for free. You gave it away for free. Like...
I mean, kinda, right?
Yeah. Like, yeah, I don't know.
It's funny. So this is true. Jimmy, it's already on Steam. What brand equity?
We talked about this a little before, but like...
Yeah, but like the truth is, like, PlayStation's moving its stuff to PC. Xbox already was moving its stuff to PC. You know what wasn't happening? Like, PlayStation wasn't moving its stuff to Xbox.
Also, and I cannot stress this enough, this is a data point that we keep coming back to, and I'll be very interested in revisiting it at some point. PC gamers in particular overestimate the part of the market that PC gaming is. It really is. And there's a bunch of reasons for that. One of them is that you can walk into a store and walk out with a console, and it's harder to walk into a store and walk out with a functional PC for equivalent value. Right?
Yeah,
I'm not saying that it's not an important thing, but for a very large chunk of the gaming space, it really matters. Right?
Yeah. I do forget that a lot. With how many PC games we play and talk about on this show and this channel, but the truth is, the ubiquity of being able to walk into a big box store, which again, I don't ever go to anymore, and picking up a console and being able to play whatever's out.
I go to Micro Center when I want to go to a big box store, and I walk out with all the components to build a new PC.
Like, and you are not the norm.
I am very not the norm, right? If you are someone who watches Twitch regularly, who engages in Twitch streams about your favorite games, who has a favorite, like you're not average. By being here on a breakfast talk show where someone is dressed as a tornado and someone is dressed as a terrible cowboy talking about gaming news, you're already so much more invested than the average gamer.
You're the top tier.
Yes.
You're the cream of the crop.
Right. You're already in, like, the top 10% of invested gamers.
Ooh, yeah.
Macho Man, Cloudy Savage, I guess.
I got you for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
3 minutes to spin you right round, baby, right round. Ooh.
Another good point. The typical parent gives a console as a Christmas gift, not a PC, right?
Yep.
Because oftentimes the parents don't understand their PC. I saw someone bring up Linux versus Windows earlier. I caution people to pump the brakes on thinking that Linux will have a decent chunk of the market share until many more people are much more tech literate than they are. And the people who are worst at estimating what the average tech literacy of the population is are the people who are tech literate enough to use Linux or who are power users on Windows. As someone who's done tier 1 support, bruh. Right? All right. Do we need to do we have to do this story, Matt?
We don't have to.
We don't
have to show the picture if you don't want to.
I feel like we have a moral obligation to bring this up because of how stupid it is. But I don't.
You know what? No. Let's not show the stupid picture. We'll talk about it. The White House posted an AI slot picture in response to GameStop announcing due to Halo coming to the console in a very poorly written post that the console wars were over. And then the White House, who I assume only understands GameStop through when it was manipulating market prices.
Wall Street bets.
Literally posted a picture of it said "Power to the Players," and it was Trump as Master Chief in front of an American flag that only had 40 stars. Again, it's AI, so it doesn't, whatever. And I'm just like, how for an administration that is, do not get it twisted, no pun intended or pun very much intended, gonna be coming for the video games when they need another straw man to fight against. It's very silly to have this being posted. I think it's stupid. I think it's dumb. I think it's doing exactly what they want, which is having us talk about it. But yeah, that's why it was quite... It was dumb. Also, just get the stars right. God.
I don't...
Don't worry about it. We don't get too political on this thing. It's just stupid.
No, okay. I just want to say that, like, for anyone responding, right? For anyone with a fan base that's large enough to accomplish the things that someone's fan base have accomplished, right? You would think you could find a competent artist who'd be willing to stay up all night and do a stupid, funny fan-like post about it that would be real and have some authentic human creativity behind it instead of crap. Right? Like,
I mean, precedent would say that is not the case for this group of people.
I mean, that you're not wrong.
But here's what I'll say. Like, and I want to kind of make it very clear here. I will even go beyond like partisan politics of this discussion. I think any administration doing, if this was Biden or Bush or Obama or
we'd be
anybody in this,
nope.
It would be like, it would be... don't get me wrong, there's a million things going wrong that are bigger than this. But this is a real, like...
How do you do, fellow gamers?
Yeah, it's very strange. Also unnecessary, because there's so many other things going on, but I guess the game plan is flood the field.
Yeah, like, I don't... gross. Gross.
Yeah, mocking, this is the ninth war that he's...
Yeah, right. Yeah, correct. Yeah. Because I don't... But the wars were also over, like, at least before this generation started.
Yeah.
Like, the current generation, the PS5 and the Xbox Series XS, this generation, not part of the wars at all. No. Like, Xbox had already lost by the time this generation launched, to be clear. Right? Yeah. They lost when the PS5 launched with exclusives and the Xbox didn't. And it's arguable they lost the last generation too. Like,
but here's the other thing. There is a real world where if they were not given, and we haven't seen the end of this yet, so maybe I'm wrong here too, but I'm just sort of like looking at what's been out and what's coming, or what they're saying is coming. There's a real version of this where Xbox could be the dominant gaming company if that 30% profit thing wasn't there. If they wanted to get out of the hardware space, that's not intrinsically bad. If they wanted to actually give Xbox Game Pass a chance and make it actually like, every streaming service will be enshittified, there's no question, but they could slow roll it to make it profitable. That's not what they're allowed to do anymore. So they're seemingly acting like they want to get out of hardware or make like just like super boutique nonsense that's so expensive that the average person can't get it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, it feels like there are two parts of this giant behemoth that are not talking to one another, and it's going to kind of eat its own tail.
Yep. Ouroboros style.
Yeah.
Ouroboros can have a little Ouroboros as a treat. I also just want to salute to Nintendo for winning as usual by doing nothing.
Well, yeah, they didn't like, I think after they knocked Sega out, they're like, nah, we're our own thing.
Yeah. By the way, Kirby Air Riders Direct soon this week, I believe, or it was last week and I missed it during prep, but I'm Air Riders. There will be a day one Kirby Air Rider stream here. I will be throwing down with several of the mods in City Trials because that is how people of culture settle their disagreements, is in City Trials, obviously.
I mean, what's a tornado's favorite video game?
Right, yeah. I mean, you do spin. That's like 90% of Kirby Air Rider. Yeah, right. So, like, yeah. It was last week. Okay, cool, great, awesome. I have to catch it. Sorry, I missed so many things prepping for the charity stream last week.
Yeah, we had a big day Saturday. So.
Yeah, I was.
If we're a little unhinged,
it's only partly because of that. It's also partially because Matt gets very into character when he gets on a costume. Okay, all right, buddy. Hello? Yeah, thank you. Coming up this week, we have all kinds of stuff for you here. There'll be a bunch of Final Fantasy Tactics here on the Twitch channel. We'll be back over on YouTube as well on Thursday with me and Jeff and another design club. We don't know what it's going to be on yet. I'm meeting with him tomorrow to talk about that. And then Matt and I will be here on Thursday as well. Please check all of that out.
Also, if you'd like to get in touch with us, if you're watching this over on Nebula, first of all, thank you so much for doing that as well. Second, you can check us out over at Blue Sky. I believe Will is pulling up our names right there. You can say hi, hello, follow us there, yell at us about things, tell us how handsome we look in tornado costumes, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of that's the best place to reach Will and I.
Yeah.
Also, if you're on YouTube, please leave a comment. What do you think about Master Chief coming to the PlayStation? What do you think about all of the Microsoft stuff? What do you think about all the stories we said today?
Yeah. And remember, use our comments as a space to say more. Sometimes YouTube flags long comments, so if it doesn't get, like, if you don't see it right away, I'm probably in there approving it because it just flags long comments because it thinks that they're a little unhinged. But I've seen some really great comments on Breakfast and on Design Club that have taken the time to say more about why they agree or disagree and elaborate with nuance. And thank you. Thank you so much for doing that on the internet when everything is reduced down to 30-second sound bites. When you're like, no, I actually have complicated feelings, and I'm going to try and elucidate on all those complicated feelings about that thing. It makes me so happy.
Triple points if you do it on this episode because of how we're dressed.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, 100%.
But I guess that the only thing that leaves us with, Will, is to have our patented exit to the show, the call to action that we want everyone to do. And I know there's some new people in the audience today. Basically, at the end of every show, we do the same outro every time in order to foster a sense of community and togetherness in this trying time for all of the people who love video games so much. So that's kind of why we do what we do here. So it's funny that this outro, it's so odd that we do it again every week when I'm not dressed as a tornado, but it fits so perfectly for me being dressed as a tornado. So with that, without further ado, let's say goodbye to the show and goodbye to this forest. Ah!